Hello, my name is Erika Galentin. I am a clinical herbalist and co-creator at Sovereignty Herbs, and we are based out of Athens and Columbus, Ohio. And I was so pumped and honestly quite honored when Mason reached out to me a while back asking if I would be willing to teach at the infamous Breitenbush Herbal Conference. And of course, I willingly said yes, clapping my hands in the sky, because what an exciting opportunity. And, it's really interesting. I actually went to, did my undergraduate in medical anthropology at the University of Oregon in Eugene, Oregon. And when I left in 2001, I always thought that I would come back to Oregon to visit its beautiful landscape and plants and people. But here we are in 2019, and I have not yet been back. So I am actually really thrilled because not only is this a wonderful opportunity to, hang out with some new folks in the herb community, but it's also a chance for me to, in many ways, come home. Oregon for me was most definitely the beginnings of my herbal journey, at least that I can recognize anyway. So I'm really excited because I am actually teaching 3 different classes at this conference, so just totally going for it. The first one I am doing is an intensive class. I believe that's on the very first day of the conference. And thanks very much to my friend John. I will have a still there. So we're going to be doing an aromatic distillation, the ritual or ceremonial journey of self-discovery. And really this hands-on workshop has kind of got both a pragmatic or practical side, as well as a more kind of esoteric or magical side. And really it's me just sharing my work with the plants, me sharing my work as a distiller, and using how I use aromatherapy to, definitely, build deeper relationships with the plants that I love so much, but also I've really been using it very much as a tool to support a deeper relationship with myself. And, it coincides with, in my clinical practice, very much using aroma to help support my clients in having, deeper relationships with themselves. So lots of different influences coming into this work, but really it's just a demonstration of my process with aromatic distillation. And so, there's going to be an element of the workshop, which is really what I call the anatomy and physiology of aromatic distillation. So really just the nuts and bolts, including equipment and how to hook up your pump and what kind of pump you should get and what do you even need to pump for. Taking you through the different kinds of stills that are available, some of the pros and cons to those. And really just, thinking about very practical things like quantity of plant material and when you're going to harvest and, how long is your distillation going to last and why. And so, these are all different parameters that I've experimented with in my own work. And so I'm going to share that nuts and bolts or anatomy and physiology of distillation process with you. But I'm also inviting people to sign up for this distillation workshop who are interested in exploring what, is most definitely a very alchemical process. And in my studying and following of the work of Kathy Skipper and Florian Birkmeyer of Aroma Gnosis, they've really brought back into this idea of aroma and its effects on psyche within the framework of alchemy, and how the alchemical stages that have been outlined by the alchemists of old, really kind of representing in a very kind of Carl Jung way this kind of stages of individuation or the stages, processes that we go through in becoming our true selves. And so using the process, this very alchemical process of distillation, step by step, I bring in different elements to my process that provide what I would call a reflective surface for self-contemplation. And so I've been teaching these group workshops all over the place, really. Been very fortunate to do that. Recently just taught one in Gunnison, Colorado with my dear friend Brianna of Rooted Apothecary. It was a really magical experience. So we actually distilled in the river, which was wild. Anyway, I do refer to these classes very much as, some might consider them to be kind of like group therapy sessions, but really it's a different thing. It's a collective group of intentions that together with our with our conversation, with our exploration, with symbology, with story, with metaphor, we collectively create a really special, unique aroma that captures the medicine of that moment for each of us, for whatever that means. So more details about that, definitely on the website. And then the two other classes that I'm teaching, one of them is a class I taught a webinar on not long ago that is titled Shame, Inflammation, and Unlocking the Inner Pillory. And really this is a presentation of some very the beginnings of a research project, if you will, kind of my findings from an initial phase of research into looking at the physiological sequelae of the experience of shame in the human experience. So how the emotion of shame is proposed to be impacting our physiology and thus our physical health. I'm definitely have been interested in how the psyche and what's going on in our psyches informs physiological processes or alters them. And, the relationship with plants and aroma that can be supportive in somebody's, psychic journey, so to speak, or whatever they're going through, whether it be grief or shame. And really shame is, to me, very much a common thread amongst many of the clients that I see. Some more than others and for different reasons, but it seems to be a very common human trait that we're all carrying in one way or another. And to me, it really has, definitely has the the power to create some very interesting and often deleterious physiological experiences. So I'm going to be teaching a class on what I found so far, looking at, how we define shame, how shame is defined, especially within kind of like a Western paradigm. And then, moving on to, the connection between shame and inflammation and the inflammatory response. And then moving on into, inflammation and herbal and aromatherapeutic support protocols, I guess, if you will. So shame, inflammation, and unlocking the inner pillory. And then the last class that I'm teaching is my class on demystifying herb-drug interactions. And this is a class that I really enjoy teaching. I think I've notably really start interjecting, swear words and things when I start talking about the evaluation of scientific research, and how that really manifests in clinical practice. And in this class, we're really going to be going through in the different facets of herb-drug interaction research and its relevance to clinical practice. We are going to talk a little bit about how to evaluate the research, what makes one type of study, more indicative of a potential issue over another, and really just, so anyone who's attending, regardless of your experience with herbs, can walk away feeling a bit more empowered and ready to kind of go off and do your own research rather than, kind of sitting there going like, oh gosh, I know this is totally important, but it's kind of freaking me out. So, you'll have the tool set, to be able to kind of go off and, like I said, do your own work with it. So So anyway, so those are the 3 classes that I am teaching at the Breitenbush Herbal Conference. I am absolutely thrilled about being there, especially amongst some of these other teachers, all of whom are awesome, and some of whom I've met, but most of whom I've not. So that's going to be really wonderful. Just to be in the arms of Oregon's forests again. Really treasure that. So I hope you consider signing up, and we will see you there. Maybe soaking in the hot springs.